NDIS, from promise to problems. Today, we turn our attention to the NDIS, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, a bold idea launched with great fanfare promising transformative support for Australians living with disabilities. But over a decade later, has reality lived up to the grand promises? When Prime Minister Julia Gillard introduced the NDIS in 2013, it was hailed as a groundbreaking reform. The government invested $1 billion into the initial rollout, pledging to give Australians with disabilities choice, control, and right to reach their potential. It was a proud moment, a vision for a more inclusive Australia. The Australian public embraced the idea. For many, it felt long overdue. But perhaps the strong culture of welfare support, while built on good intentions, also helped feed unrealistic expectations. When a scheme is framed as limitless support, demand inevitably grows, and as the system expanded, strains began to show. Behind the celebrations, the challenges quickly mounted. Fraud and misuse crept into the system. Cases surfaced of providers and participants exploiting loopholes, diverting funds meant for genuine care into personal luxuries. At the same time, the NDIS became tangled in layers of bureaucracy. Providers struggled to navigate the red tape. Participants often faced delays and frustrations instead of seamless support they had been promised. And the most worrying of all, the cost of running the scheme ballooned far beyond initial estimates, raising uncomfortable questions about whether it could be sustained into the future. The vision for the NDIS was never the problem. It was, and still is, a noble goal. But delivering that vision without clear limits, strong oversight, and practical planning has proven dangerous. Some of the documented cases are hard to ignore. For example, a support provider was convicted of fraud after siphoning off $400,000 for personal indulgences from meals and jewelry to alcohol and a home bar. In Melbourne's West, authorities are investigating for allegedly masterminding a massive fraud network, misappropriating millions meant for vulnerable Australians. And in Western Sydney, an occupational therapist was jailed for 6 years for orchestrating a sophisticated scheme to falsify reports and overcharging for services, stealing around $500,000. It is easy to dismiss these as isolated cases, but they reveal much deeper flaws. They show a system without clear boundaries or accountability can be manipulated. Not just by rogue providers, but even by well-resourced participants who know exactly how to squeeze every benefit out of a scheme that was built on trust. To its credit, the government has recognized the danger. In recent years, measures have been introduced to rein in the worst abuses. The Fraud Fusion Task Force was set up, bringing together 21 government agencies to hunt down fraud. In its first year alone, it reviewed over $1 billion in NDIS payments. An extra $110 million has been invested into fraud prevention efforts. And tougher legislation has given the NDIS Quality and Safeguards Commission more power to sanction or ban dodgy providers and stop price gouging. These are important steps, but let's be honest, enforcement alone won't fix a system if the original structure encourages overreach. When you promise an endless fountain of support without setting real limits, you invite people, providers, and consumers alike to push and push until the system cracks. The NDIS still matters. It remains a vital support for thousands of Australians who need it most. But unless there's a broader cultural shift, unless we rethink expectations, put in real boundaries, and start treating resources as limited, not limitless, the scheme's survival will remain at risk. It's not about cutting support, it's about saving it. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this discussion valuable, please share it with others who care about real, balanced conversations on healthcare and social issues. Here, we don't deal in fake news or sensationalism, just informed, considered discussion. Tell your friends where they can find it, because honest talk matters more than ever. And stay tuned. In upcoming episodes, we will turn our attention to Australia's aged care crisis and where reform is desperately needed next. I've had other videos, and you can watch them here and here regarding the US healthcare system, the Australian Medicare healthcare system, and the comparison between the two. Thank you. See you next time.